Right. So today we're diving into a world that's pretty wild, really British bare-knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
But we're not just looking at the sport, right?
Right.
We're trying to understand this guy, Decca Heggie.
Yeah.
He's all over YouTube, this channel, Hedgehog Live.
Okay.
And, well, let me tell you, this guy, he's
Yeah.
a piece of work, this Decca Heggie.
It's fascinating, isn't it? This persona that he's cultivated.
Yeah.
It's almost like a character, you know?
Yeah.
And it clashes so dramatically with these little glimpses we get
Totally.
of his insecurities.
Yeah, it's like he's decided, tough guy. That's the role he's playing.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
constantly going on about how he's undefeated, the hardest man in Britain, even calls himself the governor. I mean,
Right.
who does that?
Yeah. It's a calculated move, though, right? I mean, when you think about it,
Yeah.
by claiming that title,
Yeah.
he's putting himself in this lineage, you know,
Definitely.
with these, like, legendary figures like Lenny McLean, Roy Shaw.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's earned it or not. It's about establishing that dominance,
Right.
that authority.
And then he throws in these curveballs.
Yes.
He'll be talking about how he had a really rough childhood.
Yeah.
Mentions like sexual abuse, even
Right.
suicide attempts.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's like, oh, but I'm actually really insecure.
Yeah.
I don't trust people. I want a stable relationship.
It's jarring, isn't it?
It is. It's really jarring.
Because you sit there and you think, okay, are these admissions genuine?
Yeah.
Is he actually trying to connect with people, trying to be vulnerable?
Yeah.
Or is this calculated? Is this a way to gain sympathy?
Oh, totally.
Build trust so that he can exploit it later?
Yeah. And then we get to Stephanie.
Oh, boy.
These phone calls,
Talk about
they are something else.
toxic masculinity.
Honestly, it's like a crash course in toxic masculinity.
Absolutely.
He goes back and forth between like showering her with affection,
Yeah.
almost like love bombing her, and then just berating her for like the smallest thing.
It's the slightest little thing.
You know, and he demands constant attention, tells her who she can and can't talk to.
Control. It's all about control.
It's like he wants a girlfriend who's basically just an extension of himself,
Exactly.
not a real person with thoughts and feelings.
100%.
Remember that bit where he just loses it?
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Because Stephanie says she thinks some guy on TV is good looking.
Oh, come on.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Normal people do that all the time.
Right. Like complimenting someone's appearance, that's allowed.
Exactly.
But he twists it around, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Makes it seem like she's attracted to this random guy just
Right.
because she said that he was good looking.
Yep.
Classic gaslighting.
Totally.
Making her doubt her own perceptions and
Yeah.
feel guilty for something totally normal.
And then he gets on to her past relationships,
Oh, here we go.
like fixated on it.
Yeah.
He brings up how she's only been with 3 guys.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Right. Like it's some kind of ammunition he can use against her.
Yeah, like it's a bad thing or something.
It's all about asserting his dominance.
Right.
Implying that he's superior because of his own, alleged experience. Yeah.
And this is where the contradiction really hits you.
Yeah.
Because he says he respects women,
Right.
but then he tries to shame her for her past,
Exactly.
even though he's the one always bringing it up.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
And speaking of, respecting women,
Yeah?
did you hear about the story about his ex-girlfriend?
No. What happened?
So he wasn't cool with her even looking at other men.
Seriously?
Not even, like, pictures in magazines.
Wow.
He admits to ripping up a magazine
No way.
because she said another guy was attractive.
That's just unbelievable.
It's really something.
It's this pattern, isn't it?
It is.
This need to control, this possessiveness.
Yeah.
He doesn't see women as like individual people,
Right.
with their own thoughts and feelings and agency.
Exactly.
It's like they're possessions to be
Yeah.
controlled.
Exactly.
But then he talks about his Nana,
Oh, here we go.
how much he loves her, how he goes to bingo with her every week.
Right. It's like he flips a switch.
It's almost comical.
Right. It's just contradiction after contradiction.
It really is.
He's trying to present this image of himself as this loving grandson.
Yeah.
But then his behavior towards women he's actually involved with
Right.
tells a completely different story.
It really makes you wonder,
It does.
which one is the truth?
Yeah.
Is it all fake?
Or is it some weird mix of both?
Yeah. And that brings us to like another layer of this whole Decca Heggie thing.
Okay.
This gang he claims to run, the firm.
Oh, yeah. The fur.
Over 300 guys, apparently.
Right.
Involved in security, protection.
Mm-hmm.
He even mentions looking over drug deals.
Which, That's a bit sus, if you ask me.
It's all very sus.
Yeah.
So is this real, or is it all just part of the persona?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
We'll dig into that right after this.
So we're back, and I got to say, my head's still spinning from those Stephanie calls.
Yeah, there's something else.
But now we're getting into the firm business.
Right.
This supposed gang, 300 strong, that Decca Heggie says he runs,
Yeah.
all about security, protection.
Mm-hmm.
But then he throws in that looking over drug deals bit.
Yeah, which,
Kind of muddies the waters a bit, don't you think?
It does. And that's the thing with Heggie, isn't it? He makes these bold claims, But when it comes to the details, he gets really vague.
Totally, yeah. It's all, I don't like to talk about it online.
Right.
Which, let's be real, makes the whole thing sound even fishier.
Exactly. If it's all on the up and up, why the secrecy?
Right. Like if you're proud of your security work, why not be open about it?
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, is this a real organization?
Yeah.
Is he exaggerating?
Or is it something else entirely?
Yeah. Is he trying to scare people with this gang talk?
Yeah.
Or is it all about looking tough,
Attracting a certain type of follower.
Exactly.
It's like he's dropped us right into some gangster film.
Yeah.
And not even a good one. Like some low-budget thing.
Right. Where everyone's trying way too hard.
Exactly.
And that performative aspect, I think that's key to understanding Heggie.
I think so, too.
Like, take his claims about going nationwide with the security business, yeah.
Yeah, taking over doors all over the UK.
Right, it's less of a business plan and more like...
a movie script he's writing in his head.
Exactly.
Oh, and don't forget the name dropping.
Oh, God, the name dropping.
1 minute, it's Tyson Fury's trainer. The next, he's doing security for some big-time celeb.
Right, he's always trying to build himself up.
Yeah, like he's rubbing shoulders with the elite.
Creating this aura of importance.
But how much of it is actually true?
Who knows?
It's like he's building this whole mythology around himself.
Yes.
With these exaggerated stories and these unlikely encounters.
It doesn't even matter if it's true, really.
It's about the image.
Exactly, the narrative he's creating.
But then he goes and flips the script again.
Ooh, how so?
He starts talking about being scared of being exposed.
Oh, right.
About trolls online, making up rumors, fake police reports.
Right, you'd think the hardest man in Britain wouldn't be bothered by a few internet trolls.
Right.
Classic deflection tactic, though.
Is it?
Yeah, you see it all the time. Playing the victim.
Oh, interesting.
It's a way to shut down criticism, control what people say about you.
So he wants to be the untouchable hard man, but also the misunderstood victim.
Exactly. And that's what makes him so fascinating, right? You never know what you're going to get.
It keeps you guessing.
Exactly.
And it all ties back into this thing he does, blurring the lines between truth and fiction.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, remember that story about him jumping off a bridge?
Oh, yeah, that was a wild one.
Claims he only survived because a police van happened to be driving over at that exact moment.
Oh.
It's so out there.
It's so over the top.
Like, he can't help but embellish, even when it comes to something as serious as, like, mental health.
Right, and suicide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes analyzing him so frustrating.
It is, isn't it?
He gives you these little glimpses of vulnerability, these things that could be real struggles.
Yeah.
But then he frames them in such a theatrical way.
Yeah.
You just never know what to believe.
It's like he's performing authenticity.
Right. Like he wants us to see him as this complex person, but he's so aware of the image he's putting out there.
It makes you wonder, is that self-awareness just another part of the manipulation?
Oh, that's a good point. Like, is he doing all of this on purpose?
Right. Is there some bigger plan we're not seeing?
Or has he just gotten so lost in this persona that even he doesn't know it's real anymore?
It's like trying to grab onto water.
It really is. Just when you think you've got a handle on
It
things.
slips right through your fingers.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to try to unpack in this final part of our deep dive.
Into Deca Heggie, the enigma.
The one and only. So we've really gone deep into Decca Heggie's world, haven't we?
We really have, yeah.
All these contradictions, the wild claims, the relationships, the lines between what's real and what's, performance.
Still a lot to unpack.
It really is. And I think there's this one element we haven't really talked about yet.
Okay.
But I think it's actually key to understanding like the whole Decca Heggie puzzle.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. What are you thinking?
I think it all comes down to the audience.
Ah,
Like every word he says, every story, every time he exaggerates something, it's all for them, for the people watching.
That's a really good point. Actually, you're right. He's always aware of the camera,
Right.
of us, the audience, the people watching these videos, analyzing him.
Yeah, it's not just about him living his life. It's like he's documenting it,
Exactly.
creating this narrative,
Absolutely controlling how he's seen.
Yeah, and it's like, remember when he's on the phone with Stephanie
Here we go.
and he tells her to call him the governor during sex?
Oh, God.
It's not just controlling at that point. It's a
Yeah.
performance.
Right.
He wants that reaction.
Of course.
He needs to be that hard man, even in like the most intimate moments.
It's all for the persona. It's crazy.
It really is. It speaks to something deeper, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like this need for validation,
Oh, totally.
for attention, even if it's negative attention.
Right. It doesn't matter. As long as people are talking about him.
Exactly. He needs that notoriety, the controversy.
And that's why Decca Heggie is such a fascinating case study.
He really is.
Because is he this master manipulator
Right.
playing us all like a fiddle?
Pulling the strings.
Or is he just a guy who's really struggling
Yeah.
and looking for connection in like the only way he knows how?
Yeah. It's sad, really.
It is, and you almost feel bad for him.
You do.
But then he does something else and you're like, wait, hold on.
Exactly.
We'll never know for sure, I guess.
I don't think so. It's probably a bit of both. Yeah, a mix of all these things, his personality, what he's been through, this whole internet age where everyone's trying to be famous.
It's a recipe for this kind of persona, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point.
That
They
makes sense.
spent all this time trying to figure out the real Deca Heggie.
Yeah,
But maybe that doesn't even exist.
that's a good point.
Maybe this is it. The performance, the contradictions, the way he's built this whole persona.
It's like a character you can't break out of, you know?
Exactly. Maybe that is the real Deca Heggie, or at least the version he wants us to see.
And that leaves us with more questions than answers, really.
Doesn't it? It always does.
But I think that's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
It is,
It's not about judging anyone or saying who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah.
It's about looking at the gray areas, the complexities.
Of human nature, right?
Yeah. Especially when it's playing out online for the whole world to see.
So, what do we make of Deca Heggie? I don't know.
It's tough to say, isn't it?
He's a piece of work, that's for sure.
That he is, but I have a feeling we haven't heard the last of him.
Me neither. Not by a long shot.
And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what he wants.
Maybe you're right.